For a time, we tried to contact him by radio, but no response.
All right, everybody, welcome back to episode 14 of the Dumb Marks podcast.
15, you dumb mark.
15. I can't count. I have a hard time. Everything runs together. Days, weeks, months. Like, it's just a blob of endless just go to sleep and wake up at this point. Like, there's no delineation of time at all. Like, at all.
This is true.
Like, I woke up and walked outside my bedroom, and in the hallway there's a Christmas tree with a countdown to Christmas thing, and I looked and I'm like, oh, there's 13 days till Christmas. Like, where did the first 13 days of December go? Because I just remember eating Thanksgiving dinner not that long ago. Like, that to me, that happened like last week, not
I might throw leftovers.
You might want to pitch them out. You might not see Christmas if you eat them.
So yeah, but exciting week. Got a lot of stuff to cover here. I know one of the main things in the intro, just to bring up real quick, touch base on a couple different things. We got the official season 3 Cobra Kai trailer for Netflix. It was released. I can't wait.
Yes,
it's gonna be unreal.
Yeah, looked really good.
Looks so good, so good. I'm super pumped up. Like, I can't wait to see that. And then we talked last week about the big announcement with HBO Max and all the Warner movies streaming directly on HBO Max for 30 days while they're also being released in the theaters, and everybody was waiting on Disney's big reveal this week. And while yes, they put out a lot of shows and content to be released, other than that, I don't know if there was anything in there that made you get super excited besides what's upcoming, but it's years away. So
yeah, so much of the stuff was. Yeah, so much of the stuff was years, like 2022 release, 2023 release.
Yeah.
But they released, it was like 10 things for Star Wars, 10 things for Marvel, like a bunch of Disney and Pixar movies, TV shows, shorts, all that kind of stuff, so
their platform, I don't know, Chris, you cut out there. Love recording on Zoom during these COVID times instead of in person. It's great.
Especially
I don't know if it was
like ultimate lockdown again.
Yeah, he was like, yo, I know PA's on lockdown, but Chris's Zoom feed right there just got completely shut down.
Yeah, I saw that Kaya and the Last Dragon. They're doing that premiere access again for them, so that's going to be like $30 or something like that, like that they charge for Mulan.
Yeah, but so yeah, a lot of stuff that came out, a lot of stuff to be excited for. I know some Marvel fans had a little heart attack earlier in the week, potentially, depending on how you feel about this individual. But Brie Larson was supposedly out as Captain Marvel, but now she's back in as Captain Marvel. So I don't know how you guys feel about her in that role. Rumors around where the higher ups weren't happy with her. Her YouTube page is tanking. She's losing fans. Captain Marvel the movie, that one seemed to split the fans the most, as far as if you liked it or you didn't like it, as far as all of the Marvel movies in phase 3 or phase 4 that led up to the big Avengers Endgame finale. So me personally, I like Captain Marvel. I like Brie Larson in that role. I didn't have any issues with her playing the character or how they brought her into the MCU at the time. But it was a little interesting to hear, considering the investment they made in her.
Yeah, I had no issue with her at all in Captain Marvel. I liked the movie a lot. The only problem that I had with it was whenever she was portrayed in Endgame, because she wasn't in that many scenes. But Endgame was filmed before Captain Marvel was filmed, so they couldn't retroactive that. So that I understand. But Brie Larson, I have no qualms with her about an actress at all.
No, she was good. Anybody have anything else? I know one thing that we'll get into sports, but today is Army Navy Day. So for you sports fans out there, they say Michigan and Ohio State's the biggest rival in college football. Alabama, Auburn. For me, before I even knew what rivalries were, it was Army Navy, just because my dad was in the Navy, and that was the game that we would sit down and watch together. And it's normally by itself on a Saturday in December, standalone. But because of COVID, there's other games being played this year. I didn't even realize it was Army Navy Day until I woke up and put on game day. Like I said, time just runs together. So I'm excited for that today. I'll sit down and watch that. No matter how good or bad those teams are, it's a spectacle, and it's one of the sporting events that I would like to go to and actually visit and do live. It's kind of like on my bucket list of sports.
Mm-hmm. I have one thing too on the PlayStation 5 search. I heard now that gangs are pulling off like Fast and the Furious type things on.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's real life Grand Theft Auto out here. Only they're not stealing cars; they're stealing PS5s.
Yes, they are. Hitting up Best Buy trucks and Walmart trucks and all that stuff. Like doing
Hey, listen,
Stories 1 type stuff.
the streets are hungry out here. It's been a long time. Lockdown. The streets are affected by the lockdown, man. People got to get money. You got to get what you can. If you're flipping PS5s for $1,500 on the black market, yeah, I'm gonna hit up a truck.
Yeah, but that's my little thing for that intro today.
Yeah, that's crazy. Unbelievable. Anybody got anything else for the intro? Anything they seen during the week that they want to bring up? Oh, fat kids. We're all fat kids. We're all chubby kids, right?
Yeah.
Doritos 3Ds are coming back.
I'm all for that. Little 90s up in here.
It'll be chili, cheese, nacho, and spicy ranch will be the 2 flavors that'll be coming back to you. So if you're a fat kid, and like Donald said, if you're a 90s kid, when the Doritos 3Ds came out, it was like your mind was blown. Like, yo, it's 3D? How they make it 3D? Chips were always flat.
When they tried out Legends.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's coming back. Trying to think what else. There's I don't know if you guys watched True Blood on HBO when that show was popular. There's reportedly a True Blood reboot in the works. What's old is new again. That show was on, 10, 11 years ago. So yeah. And then Marvel is gonna reboot The Punisher. There's an article that came out today with John Bernthal as the Punisher. He's going to keep the role. I don't know if any of you guys saw that.
Didn't see it. I thought it was good as it was. I didn't know it was going to reboot it again.
Well, maybe reboot's not the right word, but Marvel's going to, I guess, pick it up.
Netflix?
Well, it wouldn't be on Netflix no more because...
Oh, they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess they're gonna continue it on.
So the series.
The series, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through my list here to see if I have anything else that came up here in the intro. I don't got nothing else. Anybody else got anything else? I know Chris is having some issues with his Zoom stuff, so
Lost Debo this week.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up later on in the bell to bell segment. But since intro we cover a lot of various topics, but yeah, sad and depressing. 2020 just keeps taking the heroes away, man. Probably the 2 famous roles he's known for is Zeus and from No Holds Barred, wrestling movie with Hulk Hogan. That's whenever I first saw him. And then, the infamous role of Debo from the Friday series of movies. But
It's
yeah,
been I saw those holds bar. It's been a long time.
Did you go back and watch it, Steve?
actually, before he passed away, I think I was searching through Tubi one night,
Mhm.
and it was on there. So I threw it on just because it was like, okay, let's see how bad this really is now
Yeah, does
compared
it
to
hold up?
whenever I was
Does it hold up
a
well?
6-year-old Hulkamaniac that was just running wild, brother. Like, does not hold up. Movie does not hold up. Very bad acting. Very bad acting. But yeah, it's sad to see him go. Like I said, I don't know what else could go wrong in 2020. It seems like it's been a really, like, this year more than others for some reason to me. And I know this is probably going to sound wrong to say, but because it's every year, but like this year it just seems like more, you're seeing more and more of like I don't want to say the famous of the famous people pass away, but you're like, so this top celebrities and top influencers and just people that are known worldwide in every country you go to, seem to be the ones that are passing away this year. Goes all the way back to, Kobe, back in February?
January.
January. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you had Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, Alex Trebek. Like, these are just people that, like,
Sean
our
Connery.
age. Yeah. Like, been a long, rough year. So hopefully we're going to turn the corner on it and get out of it. But yeah, rest in peace to him. Thoughts and prayers to his family. Debo forever will be a character that will live on through the generations. Like, everybody will know Debo. So yeah. Anything else? All right, we're going to text Chris here to stop recording on intro. Hopefully he comes back for bell to bell. If not, I'll handle this as a handicap match, 2-on-1, and lay the smackdown on these two punk asses. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, welcome, wrestling fans, to this week's edition of Bell to Bell. It was another busy week in professional wrestling, and I think the biggest takeaway was for the first time, the AEW champion Kenny Omega was on Impact Wrestling.
The Thanos of the professional wrestling world, who's going to go around to all the promotions and collect all of the heavyweight belts. He is the belt collector. But people are laughing and smirking. You don't think that's where this is going?
Oh yeah,
I mean, he already has two.
If
Right,
his
and
word is going, it's a terrible idea.
Here we go. Here's
my question on that.
Here's the Debbie Downer. Let's go.
So, like, Rich Swann's the champion in Impact. If Kenny Omega wants that title, I'm sure he can get that title. Like, I don't see that being a real challenge for him. Yeah. So it's like, that's the question of, do they put the title on Kenny Omega in Impact?
I mean, that it's gonna play out that way to me, at least. He's hinted at it, he's brought up the collecting comic books as a kid and looking for something new to collect. He already has the AAA Heavyweight Championship, which he'll defend tonight against Laredo Kid. That show's scheduled to go off tonight, Saturday, as we record. So we'll see. I'll tune in to catch the highlights for that. I don't think they have an English version of commentary for that because of COVID. You don't. So,
but it's gonna be free, so that's the benefit.
Yeah. So there's the trade-off there, which I'm fine with because I've watched AAA shows just on mute, just watching the wrestling, just to watch the wrestling. But yeah, so I mean, hey, listen, everybody was up in a buzz about it, right? It got the entire world of pro wrestling talking, from wrestlers talking, fans, obviously, every single website, dirt sheet, everybody's talking about what happened, what's going to go down, what's going to be the fallout. And, Access TV was the number one search after AEW went off the air, when Callis said, "See us Tuesday night." Impact I watch it during Twitch. I say that all the time. You know, they average about 4,000, 4,500 on Twitch occasionally. It got up to as high as 9 after Slammiversary. It was over 55,000 people on Twitch stream on Tuesday night watching Impact.
That's crazy.
Their ratings on Access, they did the previous Tuesday, they did 166,000 views, and this past Tuesday with Kenny Omega on and Don Callis, it was up over 266,000 views. So when you combine the Twitch views and the viewership on Access, you're looking at around, say, just round it off, give them 305,000 people, 310,000 people tuned in for that. I mean, that's half of what, almost half what NXT draws on Wednesday night. So did it work? Absolutely. Were people tuned in? Absolutely. Will people continue to tune in? Don't know. Impact records, normally 4 to 8 weeks in advance. So that show was already in the bag. They added commentary with Josh Matthews and Madison Rain over top of it, like they always do. Omega and Callis was filmed, so they cut that in, added it to the show. For me, it was a good show of Impact. It was solid. It wasn't like gonna do Cartwheel's best show of the week, but it's typical of what Impact puts out on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing where this progresses, because my guess would probably be that, with their Hard to Kill pay-per-view coming up, I believe January 16th, they're probably taped up at least close enough to that. And so does Kenny Omega do anything on the pay-per-view? Is there any AEW involvement? Because now do we scrap some of the storylines for it, or do we, write new stuff, or just let this play out after January? It's a lot of interesting seeing where this goes, because the fans were there for it this week with the ratings, and I'm definitely going to probably continue tuning in, at least seeing what's going on with it.
And now I did hear a lot of the backlash that for people that watched both shows, people that tuned into Impact and then tuned in for Dynamite, they were upset because essentially the same quote unquote promo was cut by Callis and Kenny on Dynamite. Although they did tease a surprise or two that they didn't want to reveal, they would reveal later on.
People were upset it was segment.
Huh?
They with the SmackDown Raw segment.
Yeah, they teased it.
Give you the same promo.
Yeah, but so my counterpoint to that was AEW draws roughly 850,000 people in a week. You don't know how many of those people are actually tuning in and seeing Impact. So while the promo was similar and the message was similar, the wording wasn't exactly the same. It was different between the two shows. The overall message was the same, but you're speaking to two separate audiences. You can't just continue completely without laying the foundation on each show. So like once you have them hooked and they're in and they're tuning in to both shows weekly, then you can run it where it's like the back-to-back stuff. Like, you have to watch Impact, because if you don't watch Impact on Tuesday, you're not going to know what happens on Wednesday with it. You know what I mean? But right now, with it being the first week, like you're going to have to lay that foundation on both shows.
I talked about this, a few weeks back, where we talked about the continuity of, being the Elite, then AEW Dark, and then Dynamite each week, how like everything continues and progresses on all those shows. And I kind of feel like AEW needs that like weekly recap show of like, okay, if you don't watch Dark and you don't watch Being the Elite, here's where the story connects. And that might be a good idea, even more so now, to have, if they're going to start going to Impact or maybe any other promotions to tie in. So like if you can't watch Access, or you don't have access to Twitch, you can still be caught up with everything.
Yeah, agreed. Donald, Jason, your guys' thoughts so far on where this is going? Whether or not
here we go.
Go ahead, Jason. You bet. What's the end game?
The end game is the IWGP Heavyweight Title. That's the end game.
So your goal is to take all the major championships off of these lower shows and then do what with them? So everybody will just be running around like Brock with the belt. You won't see a championship for maybe a month.
So
off defending it somewhere else, a different one.
I think if they go down this road with this belt collector gimmick, and that's what he's going to end up doing, and we don't know how many. We're speculating as to how many companies are actually going to hop
Yeah.
on board with this, right? Like we just are automatically putting in,
Everybody.
Ring of Honor, New
Yeah.
Japan, NWA, obviously Impact's already included, AAA's already included. So like right now, out of all those, we know two. We know Impact and AAA, right?
Yeah.
We have no idea if ROH would do anything. NWA to me would be on board because they've already worked with AEW.
Yeah.
So that one's there. And then the New Japan thing is really, to me, that one is really up in the air. I don't know one way or the other. Bridges were burned badly. A lot of negative feelings at the time. I don't know if those are still there. Sometimes, as we know, wrestling grudges run long, especially if your name's Vincent Kennedy McMahon. You will hold a grudge.
And the one difference though with New Japan right now is they have a new president. Since
right. So maybe that leads to it. I think, back to your point, Jason, what's the end game? If done properly, this collector gimmick, and I don't just want to label it just strictly on Omega, because I think it's going to encompass other talent as well.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, if done properly and if done well, yes, he's going to have all the belts. Eventually, he's going to lose them back to people in the separate promotions. At that time, well, that's what I mean. At that time, you're going to have, if done properly, you're going to have the right people elevated to beat him, and you're going to have more eyes on each product. I think the main goal is to raise everybody up. What's the saying? High tides raises all ships. So like to me, this is the Young Bucks and Cody to an extent, but this is like the Young Bucks taking indie wrestling and just doing it on a much bigger scale to include, actual, money back promotions, not just your local indie that's getting a buzz in the Northeast because it's one of the bigger shows in the Northeast. Like, to me, this is what they wanted to do with launching AEW. I think it was their goal from the start was to, at some point in time, be able to work with other promotions and do the talent moving between shows and everything else. Like,
kind of what they did with All In. That was the start of it. And
that's that is literally the blueprint. You have everybody working together on one show, all those different promotions. People did what they did. Like Tommy Dreamer said this week on Impact, and he also said it whenever they talked to Don Callis on Busted Open Radio. Like, to him, this isn't going to work because of ego. Ego will not allow this to work. No matter where they're trying to go with it, egos in professional wrestling will not allow this to work, and he feels that it's going to blow up and just be
Did Tommy Dreamer say it, or did I say it?
What's that?
Did Tommy Dreamer say it, or did I say it?
I believe that was Tommy Dreamer that said it. I didn't hear the quote to Jason Nevermore. I didn't hear that part at the end of that statement. I mean,
to get everybody on board would be tough. Like if you had like you said, Impact and NWA, that'd probably be one thing. But to get everybody on board,
now it's like, all right, well, what's the benefit for people jumping on, right? Or wanting to do this? What's the benefit? As we know, New Japan has tried and hasn't been very successful as developing a United States market, right? They tried it a couple times. So what's the benefit for them? Well, obviously, to get in the United States market. Them working with AEW automatically draws eyes, and not just the hardcore wrestling fans, but the general viewer that turns into AEW will now know of and see people in New Japan. NWA, they've already been involved with the women's division, so their working relationship is what it is. We've seen what they've done with United Wrestling with their primetime live shows that have been really good. Until Billy Corgan and company can get up and running and get back to doing a regular schedule and putting on NWA power in that, the best thing for them would be to throw talent around. not just lose talent to being signed to AEW, like how they lost Eddie Kingston, lost Ricky Starks, you know, but NWA got talent. I mean, you give me Nick Aldis and Kenny Omega. I'll watch Aldis and Omega.
I'll watch that too.
Yeah.
You have Aldis and Don Callis going back and forth on the microphone together. I'll listen to that in a build up to that. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. It's super early, but like for the people that are bitching already, like you ran the same promo 2 shows in a row. It's like, hey, dumbass, you got to lay the foundation on each show because not every person tunes in and watches both shows.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
I'm cool with it. Like I'm good. Let me see how it plays out. Final resolution is tonight. That's already done in film. That's not live, so there won't be any surprises on that. I'm sure commentary they'll talk about it because they doing the voiceovers and that. But as far as seeing somebody run in or do anything like that, that's not going to happen. With him being announced already for Tuesday, I want to see if he'll pull in that many viewers again, especially on Twitch, to see how high it goes again this week.
I'm not sure I expect them to pull the same amount, but I still expect it to be a little bit higher than what it normally is.
So if you had to ballpark, if you had to go around the room and take a guess, step on the scale like Kenny would, guess your weight. What would you guess overall number without going over Price is Right rules now? What does the Twitch stream get up to this week?
I'll go 30.
Donald, Jason?
So 30. I'll say 23.
Don't you even say $1.
31.
That's
Yeah,
Shield
31.
WWE. Did he give a negative number?
No, 31.
Yeah.
31. Okay.
I think more people will tune in.
Yeah, I'll pull a Scottie Pippen out and go 33,000. We'll rock with that.
What day is it?
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
8 to 10. So Access TV and Twitch. All right, I'm not getting paid by Impact, so I'm done plugging it. Let's move on then.
I mean, if you're seeing any pay from them, there's 3 other people on this podcast.
Hey, like Don Callis said, I'm the invisible hand of the podcast world. You don't know where that cookie jar's at.
You just don't know it yet.
Nah. So but moving on, rest of AEW. We'll just stick with AEW here, Fallout, and then we'll move into WWE and as well as other stuff to wrap up. But rest of AEW Dynamite. Thoughts, hits, misses, would they get right? Would they get wrong? What would you like to see done differently? Don't have to break it down match by match, but just overall your feelings, what you're looking forward to story-wise, so on and so forth.
With Young Bucks and TH2, I thought that was a great match. Not a great, but good match. But I just saw that Angelico is fighting Cody next week on Dynamite. So you know what that means already.
The shovel.
Do I have to say it?
The platinum shovel.
I'm glad, like Angelico and Evans. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they're actually getting time on Dynamite again because they weren't being used there for a bit.
Well, Angelico's from South Africa, so and Jack Evans lives in Mexico, so quarantine they weren't around.
Yeah, but then whenever they came back, they were on Dark, I think, for a bit. I don't know if that was just getting them back used to the ring or whatever, but glad to see them get their spot back on Dynamite.
And like all the young tag team talent down there that's about to get used to, like the Acclaim, like they're starting to get a storyline now in this TH2 Top Flight. So a couple of new teams finally starting to bubble up to not the top, but still bubbling up.
Where your boys at?
The Private Party, Evan got that
Flippers.
Yeah, they got that back seat right quick.
They're living it up on SmackDown as Street Profits now.
It was raining blue solo cups last night for those of you that tuned in. So
you changed it up.
Yeah.
How any word on Pentagon or Penta?
Don't know how long he's out. Word was he hurt his knee in training, and that's why they put him through the table to write him off. But as far as length of time and what that injury actually is, I have not seen anything else to this point. So don't know, which kind of sucks. Feels like him and Phoenix both have been
Injury bug.
start stop, getting nipped in the butt with things once they want to get them two going. To me, both Phoenix and Pentagon, to me, are two people that can have the heavyweight championship in AEW.
Yeah.
Been going a long time too. Like they haven't had like an off day in like forever. It seemed like.
Even Phoenix's time off was only a couple weeks. It wasn't even that long.
Mm-hmm.
So not enough time to really heal.
Yeah.
So we'll see with that. But yeah, what'd you think of Sting coming out?
And no emotions for me. Just like, okay, another promo just to see what he was doing, but I don't know. I just had nothing on the promo.
Jason,
huh? I sat there and watched this one. What did he say other than talk? How did he further a storyline?
Like I texted Steve because he watched AEW this week and I was watching NXT from what I could, but he said it was a typical Sting promo, like where he said stuff without saying stuff.
Yeah, there was no official challenge,
it's
no
Sting
further
being Sting.
storyline. Sting.
Like comes out, lays the mystery down, leaves you with more questions than answers, and that means you got to tune back into next week to see what it's gonna happen. I do like there's subtle throwbacks with him and Cody, referencing him and Dusty, or just him with Cody as Cody was as a kid, back in the locker room back there. I did enjoy Cody saying, "Hey, I wanted to share a ring with you," and Sting automatically like, I'm not here for you, Cody. Like, shoo out of my way, shoo fly, shoo. Like, you annoying gnat, get the hell out of my face.
Then
it irked Cody.
Why do you have Cody in that segment at all then?
Because, well, that's just a carryover from last week with Hobbs, and Sting wasn't supposed to come out during that segment. It was promoted all week that Sting and Shivani were going to do an interview by themselves in the ring. So you have Sting come out during Cody's segment, and I tweeted this out. I said, "Why Cody never comes out this early in the show. He normally handles that crossover spot from 8 to 9."
Mm-hmm.
And he was out the second segment of the show? He was out like 20 after 8, 8:30ish. Second or third segment. So I'm like, is this where we're going to see Shaq? Because Shaq was promoted to be on Dynamite. I'm like, okay, now they're going to start already, which was kind of, to me, too early for that. But and then Sting came out, and I was intrigued. I'm like, okay, so we're getting Sting right off the bat here, showing up. I like to call out to Darby. I think the thing that made the segment for me the most, and this is just because I'm an old school wrestling fan and have been watching it forever, but him and Shivani sharing a ring again and having a hug, to me that's like, all right, I'll take that. That was worth it. Like, I got a pop out of it. You know what I mean?
I don't want COVID hug.
But just to be like, hey, it's been over 18 years since we shared a ring together. How the hell are you type deal? Can I get you to give me an it's Sting? And Shivani hits it. Of course he does. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. I want to know if he can wrestle at all. Does he do anything singles wise? Who would he potentially work with? And then I think naturally progression, you have him and Darby doing something. I know Cody wants it because it's Cody and it's Sting and it's Dusty and Sting, and you can get into all of that, right? No. I'm more intrigued by Sting and Darby because Sting has never been with anybody in his career, right? Mm. He's always been the loner. He's always been the guy by himself, no matter how many, except Main Event Mafia back in TNA, but like majority of Sting's career, he's been by himself. So
I'm over old time valets, but I wouldn't mind seeing him as like a mentor to Darby.
No.
No?
No.
You don't make him wrestle?
No, I don't want to make him wrestle. I don't want him there anyway. Gosh, no point. Again, back to the thing. We are building for the future. No need to go back in time with these people. Gosh, let Darby build his own character. Everybody else built their own character back then. Let him build his own character.
Who's building their own character now, though?
Man,
Nobody.
So we got the people with the burying the shovels and that stuff. Are we going to bring Hogan back? Oh, I'm going to teach you how to bury the competition, brother.
Please do. Please do.
He's not going to AEW, but I guarantee he'll be back at some point.
And then if Sting wrestle, who is he going to wrestle? I don't think nobody's safe in AEW to wrestle against. Everybody's getting hurt all the time. Who's their safe person to wrestle? They don't got.
Well, that's what I said. You would automatically you put him in there with Cody if you're doing a singles match. To me, the best thing to do, and we talked about it last week, throw him in a 6-man tag and let him get a hot tag, throw a punch or two, and dip out.
Yeah.
Like
that'd be the safest thing for him.
Yeah, don't have him going in there taking bumps and trying to do anything that will legitimately put his life at bigger risk. So
as much as I would love to see, as much as I would love to see a Stinger splash, I don't think I would trust his neck with it.
I want to see a buckle bomb.
But you want to see a Stinger splash? Go watch D'Angelo Hopkins on Street Profit.
Hey, Garrison got a nice one. Griff Garrison.
Hey, are you shitting on Griff Garrison right now, or are you being legit? Like I'm curious.
I like Griff Garrison.
So what'd you think of him and Pillman as a tag team?
It fit. Them two together in the name just fit.
All right, I had the same vibe about it. I'm like, okay, like these two, yeah,
they
for
just
sure.
looked apart.
Yeah. Now, like somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody tweeted out, I guess because of like the hair and everything else, but like somebody was like, watching Griff Garrison looks like a 1990 Mexican Chris Jericho. They did, like he gave off major early Jericho vibes with the hair and the body, the movement, like
that old line.
I don't know.
He just looks like a Hooper converted wrestler, but can go a little bit.
I did see that the Britt Baker and Leela Hirsch, they did really good numbers. And then when Thunder Rosa, like that got up over 1 million people with Thunder Rosa coming out in that brawl and everything else. So Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa really, like, that's, I don't know, maybe that's the feud, even though it's not for the belt, but that's the feud that like really jumpstarts the women's division because they're getting great viewership out of it.
Yeah.
Each segment each week with them two on it, whether it's an interview segment or they're battling in a pull apart bar or whatever. The tweets on social media, like they're getting great reaction. So maybe this is what really sparks it. I don't know.
To connect with a kick.
So speaking of Britt Baker, did you see WWE edited? They took her out from War Games last year where they show her face where Cole goes through the table.
I heard that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Completely cut her out. She's gone. She's no longer there. In the history books, she was not there.
I mean, whenever it happened, everybody was surprised they even showed her on camera. So I'm surprised they didn't take her out sooner.
The cameraman probably got fired for it.
Probably.
So here's that thing. If you're doing that, right, how are you going to come out and say you're open for business to work with other promotions?
Because they're not.
Come on, WWE hype man. Where you at with that? Explain to me how explain to me how you're going to be open to working with other promotions if you're taking people out of shows to act like they were never even sitting there in the arena.
That's because you wipe away the existence, so when they come back, you're like, it's something new. No, I don't know it. I don't care. I don't care if they're open for working with other people. I'm not here for that.
You want that closed environment.
Yes.
All right. Well, anything else from Dynamite? Jericho or MJF and Orange Cassidy was a solid match.
That turned into a lumberjack match. I just seen bodies outside at the end. I don't.
Yeah.
It broke down at the end, doing the typical AEW chaos, end the show type deal like WCW used to do back in the day. So that led to this week. There's a 14-man tag team match. With everybody that was outside the ring, plus the people that were in the ring. So, yeah.
7-on-7 sponsored by COVID.
I thought 12-man was bad. They have 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I did like Hager and who was a Wardlow go back.
Wardlow.
Like
yeah. That was
too much.
That was the best part. That was the best part of that segment. I didn't care about anything else that happened in that segment.
Dude, you're creeping me out.
Stop staring at me. Fantastic.
So was
all right.
That Abaddon, she's the next in line?
I would think so. Like and I'm okay with that.
Have you seen her wrestle at all?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't.
Yeah.
I've seen her like twice on AEW.
Just this match this week. That's all I've seen.
That's it. Is she on Dark?
She's been on Dark. She's had more matches on Dark. And you can go on YouTube and
that's where the like Chris's continuity point comes in. Like,
yeah,
you got to start.
I think they're slowly starting to do what Chris is asking for. Besides the ticker, as far as recapping matches, like they did bring it up on Dynamite, like with the Scorpio Sky and Sean Spears stuff. Like they did talk about that and bring it in. I think once they officially announce a second show or whatever it's going to be, a third hour of programming that Cody's referenced, that Tony's referenced, even TNT's referenced the third hour of programming. Once that officially goes, I think they will use that as either a secondary show that leads into both, because their roster is ballooned up a little bit. Like, Tony Khan has said it himself. He has a robust roster right now. What can he do with everybody? Well, obviously you're like, whoa, second show. But in WCW, that wasn't the best thing. Thunder came out, and that kind of started the tanking of the product. Forget all the backstage stuff with WCW that was going on at the time with the Time Warner and AOL and all that. But second show at that time, WCW didn't have the roster to fill it out. And you weren't getting main guys who were on guaranteed deals, only working so many dates a year to do 2 shows a week. AEW has the roster to do it. You could even if you make Dark your other show, you can have more people on various tag teams, build people up. You know,
would you do it 3 hours or would you do it a separate day?
I would not do 3 hours on Wednesday. I would do it a separate day, and I would keep it strictly to an hour.
Okay.
I would give it the hour NXT viewing ship that you used to have on the WWE network, and use that formula and format where you have squash matches, you have, some character development, you're building people up. Occasionally you get a heavy hitter come down for a main event or to work with somebody. Like, use that NXT formula for that additional third hour, and I think you'll be able to build more people up doing that.
Maybe put it on the weekend. Yeah, I think maybe a weekend show would be fine for something like that.
Saturday night 6:05, they go back to getting a time slot on TBS.
So I'd be cool with that.
WWF superstars.
I think they can take. I think they can take 2 episodes of Big Bang Theory reruns off of TBS for Saturday night.
All right, well, let's move over. Since we brought up NXT there, let's jump into the world of WWE before we run through whatever else is going on in wrestling. Hits, misses. Would you like? What you didn't like? Anything from WWE this week? I occasionally tuned into Raw, flipping back and forth. Nothing really caught my eye, so to speak. The Drew and Sheamus stuff this week, I didn't like at all. Orton, the TV camera trick angle to end the show with Orton after hitting RKO and then doing the switch out to the Fiend laying underneath him. I like that. I like the way that went off. No Alexa Bliss this week, which was sad. She was busy filming a reboot for Punky Brewster. If those of you that did not know that, that's what she was at this week.
I heard Charlotte was doing it with her too.
Yeah. So, anything from Raw that you guys saw, hits, misses, anything besides it just being a 3-hour Raw?
Just what you said, the Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton stuff. I thought was the only entertaining thing this week on Raw.
Match wise,
I tuned in for those in the Hurt Business.
I was gonna say Kofi and Shelton was really good, and then Kofi and Cedric was really good. That's obviously leading to New Day versus the Hurt Business at TLC. But if you're just into wrestling, for wrestling's sake, those 2 matches definitely hit your sweet spot there. Retribution, like this whole Ricochet, Dana Brooke, and just they are completely not what they were when they started a month and a half ago.
Who, Retribution or?
Yeah, they're like it's completely changed, and that's because of the flip-flop booking that Vince does. They're nowhere near what they were supposed to be.
Yeah, no.
Like message-wise, promo-wise, you're only getting 2 or 3 of them. I don't know if T-Bar is out with COVID or what he's doing or where Mace has been, but I mean, you've only seen Reckoning and Slapjack or Slapdick, whatever you want to call them.
Slap nuts.
Yeah, whatever. But
did you guys see the thing this week that Vince is sending people back down to the Performance Center?
Yeah, one of those people were Keith Lee.
Yeah, and I think I saw T-Bar and Mace were on that list too.
And Otis,
yeah.
What they sent them down for?
He was furious with their work rate and how they performed in the ring. They need more seasoning. They need more work. Listen.
Oh, and AJ's what's AJ's guy's name? I forget.
The tall dude.
Yeah.
But he's one of the people too.
Yeah, but he's like, I would expect it from him because he's super green. Like he's never done anything before, at all. Like, I when you're a professional, it doesn't matter what sport you're a professional at, right? You're always practicing. You're always working to improve. You're always trying to get better at what you do, right? Just because you make it to the NFL, don't mean you stop practicing during the week. You still have practices, right? Like. You have to practice to continue to get better.
Yeah.
So I got no problem with them, having to practice more to quote unquote live up to Vince's standards. But like with Keith Lee, when you watch if you watch that documentary on WWE Network, one of the closing segments to it is him talking to Vince after his debut on Raw, and Vince telling him how he's impressed with him, and he has to make him believe and everything else and all this stuff. Like, I just don't get where you turned on him. Keith can go in the ring. He's not a 2-year rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's been around for 10 years.
I don't necessarily see this being a bad thing, like you were saying, because if Vince just was completely thrown off of them totally, he would just write them off the television completely and not use them. So at least he wants them to get better and see if this helps them out. So hopefully that means that he's not completely worn off of Keith Lee and he wants him back on TV. But
They seem to all be big guys.
Which is crazy because that's what Vince loves.
Mhm.
That's his stable. Give me the 6'5", 250 and above. Okay.
Everybody gonna come back looking like Batista.
I don't know. It's just it's another thing. But so that was Raw. I guess we can move over to SmackDown and then backtrack to NXT since we're on main roster stuff. SmackDown last night, I caught like 2/3 of it. I missed like the first probably 40-45 minutes, and I did not get a chance to go back and watch that yet on the DVR. But the last hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes that I did watch, I liked it. Roman and Kevin Owens segment was really good this week. Really good. Kevin Owens' promo, really good. Wasn't you know how your typical promo you hear going into the TLC match and the standard spiel that they give. Owens completely hit a 180 on it and twisted it around to act like the inanimate objects were his friends and the reason why he uses each one of them and how he's going to use them in the match to beat Roman. I thought was really done really well.
Yeah, that was good. That was. And the ladder, that's my best friend of all.
Yeah. It's gonna take me to where I rightfully should be, and that's back as being a WWE champion. Like I said when Owens came over, back when we did the prediction show with the draft, Chris, like, give me the prize fighter Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Give me, like I said that with him with the Fiend. I'm like, the Fiend changes everybody. So what's he gonna change with Kevin Owens? How's he gonna switch up Kevin Owens? Well, give me the Kevin Owens, the prize fighter Kevin Owens. Let's fight for his family and stabs his best friend in his back because it'll provide more money and food on his table for his family. And the way that they're weaving in this head of the table and family stuff between both of them, Owens has talked about his family throughout promos throughout the course of his career. It's what he built his main run on in NXT with Sami Zayn. I did it for my family. Like, it's just hitting on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
I
loved Roman's line there in the backstage area where he was just like, I'm the one that's put the food on your table and I'm the one that'll take it away.
Right. Like,
that was perfect.
We haven't formally been introduced.
I did like too. Whenever Roman came out to confront Kevin, and then Paul Heyman was like,
Heyman was perfect.
He was like, look at him, he's in the ring. You're the head of the table. You're the one who called the shots and that stuff.
Yeah, you're the shot caller. You do it on your time, not on his time. Who is he? Like, that was so Heyman right there. That's a perfect example, right? Heyman throughout this whole Roman run so far hasn't really done a whole lot of talking, right? It's been more body language stuff from Heyman with Roman, right? Last night was a perfect example of using him to speak, to hammer the point home even more. It's like, no, you don't go out there. He doesn't dictate to you what you do. You're the big dog. You're the head of the table. You're the tribal chief. You fight when you want to fight. You're the shot caller. He doesn't call shots for you. You call your own damn shot. And I was like, oh, let's go. Again, this will be what the Roman came back after SummerSlam, so this is what the third or fourth pay-per-view since then, right? Since this new reincarnation of Roman.
Yeah.
You had Clash, you had Payback, Survivor Series, now TLC, right?
Hell in a Cell too.
Hell in a Cell, so fourth or fifth, right? Again, as of right now, I'm the most excited for Roman Reigns match. Because why? The storytelling. It's not rocket science, folks. It's the
if he isn't PW number one next year, I call foul.
I mean, it's so easy when it's done right, and it's been done right since he came back.
Who's writing for SmackDown?
Honestly, I have no idea anymore.
It was supposed to be Bruce Pritchard, but I don't know.
My feeling is Heyman got his hands all in that Roman character storyline as far as whether it's not Heyman pitching any ideas, it's like him looking over everything and telling Roman like, hey, this is where I think you need to go with this, or this is what you should say as far as pushback on what you want to do. I think Roman has said he's heavily involved in this, and he has the cachet to do that now in his career. He's been around long enough to say, hey, these are the storylines that I want to do. This is how I want to do it, and you can add into it. But it's been like the only reason why I want to watch. It's why I tune in every Friday night, honestly.
Time for me to burst that bubble, though.
What are you going to burst it with?
Goldberg.
Oh, fuck.
There we go.
I forgot about that.
So he comes out this week and says Roman's next. We don't have a Saudi Arabia show coming up anytime soon, at least nothing that's on the map, due to COVID. So where do we throw him in? Do we throw him in at Rumble? Do we throw him in Mania? But it's
Rumble,
coming, and he's taking the title back.
No, you don't. No, you don't throw it at all.
He's not taking.
So here's
though.
Here's what
Vince does.
Here's what I've seen throughout the week, following up on it, looking into it. So first off, did you see Roman's reply to that?
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Roman said, I'm the head of the table. I say who's next, not you. Like, basically, shut the fuck up. And he was like, and Kevin Owens is next. Like, he called out the next, not Goldberg. Roman did. So it was a good shot. So here's what the rumors and the scuttlebutt. Tremendous word for an old fogey if you're an old person. What the scuttlebutt is around this. So right now, potentially, and I've been saying this, Rock, Roman, Mania, right? Apparently this week it came out that The Rock said that he is open to and willing to work a match with Roman at WrestleMania under one condition. He wants fans in the stands. He's not coming back if there's no fans in the stands. So what does that mean for Mania this year? Probably not going to happen, right? And if there are fans in the stands, it's going to have to be a sellout. Rock's not coming back if they're only letting in 5% capacity of a stadium.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to do it. So if that's off the table because of that, right? So what's next? This is where Goldberg comes in. They were supposed to get your Spear versus Spear, Roman versus Goldberg match last year at Mania. Didn't happen because of COVID. So do you do it this year? I would say no. I don't. After the Goldberg Taker match, I don't need Goldberg in the ring anymore.
So are you getting Edge too? At this Mania?
Make it a triple threat.
I don't.
You do not put Edge in the ring with Goldberg now.
Edge is on Raw.
No, what I'm saying is he coming like you want to have two old guys headlining Mania, not in the match together, but
well, so
in the show.
Funny you bring up Edge because I've been saying that I want Edge and Orton at Mania for the belt, right? Rumor and scuttlebutt is that they're potentially looking at doing Edge and The Fiend, or Edge and Beth versus The Fiend and Alexa at Mania.
No, I would like Edge versus Fiend because that's head games versus head games.
Yeah. And
But
different types of head
you
games.
give me both. I don't want Edge and Goldberg.
Here's the
card.
I guess here's the biggest thing with this, right? We're talking about Mania, but so Vince, it's the middle of December, Royal Rumble's in January. They haven't even started talking plans for Rumble yet.
They haven't booked a date yet.
Which means if they haven't done that, then they don't even know what they want to do for Mania.
Yeah.
Normally by this time, Vince already has Mania booked, and he's working backwards, and the Rumble's late. Like, this is really
But what can you do
out
at
of
this
the
time?
ordinary. This is completely out of the ordinary, and I
Yeah.
got a feeling that the later it goes with it, we're gonna get more of the. We won't have that long-term build and storyline from Rumble to Mania. It's going to be choppy bullshit, and then we're just going to get matches at Mania that make it feel like any other pay-per-view this year.
I think that if there's no fans, I think if they stay in Florida, they'll be able to put some fans in. But if they don't want to put any in, I think it's going to be just like this year was, and we're going to get 2-night event. Just 2 nights of shortened time. And they'll try to make like some cinematic stuff out of it again.
What, for Mania? You said?
Yeah.
So you have a feeling everything's coming from Tropicana?
Probably.
Tropicana, I don't know when's Mania normally take place? March, April.
Usually, late March, early April. I think right now they have a tentatively scheduled for like March 28th.
I was going to say, you got baseball
28th.
season.
Baseball
You got
coming up.
baseball. So.
The Rays are going to be like, we want our stadium back,
Yeah. Although WWE will probably put more fans in the stands than the Rays do, but that's a different question.
And they went to the World Series last year.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just you don't need Goldberg.
No, you don't. You don't
You
need
really
Goldberg.
don't.
The last thing that Goldberg did for me was kick Bret Hart in the face. That was the last good thing he did for me.
That ended Bret Hart's career. Like that's what the last good thing was that he did.
Yeah, because I don't like Bret Hart. So.
Wow. Jesus.
Hey, I think you're outnumbered on this Zoom.
No, it's tied.
He said it's time. Goldberg need to be no more. I'm sorry.
All right. Anything else from the world of pro wrestling? We did see that Ring of Honor's final battle card will have to change due to positive test. EC3, Bandito, Matt Haven, forget who the fourth person was. But that card will have to change due to COVID protocols. So that's gonna switch up what they do with their first show, their first pay-per-view back since COVID, which kind of sucks.
And that was supposed to kind of be like EC3's, I guess, like one and done type deal. So kind of shame they have to postpone that, but we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Any other news from around the wrestling world? Any other things that got to you? Did you catch MLW this week?
Yeah, NXT Karrion Kross came back.
Oh yeah, that's right. Cross and Balor. I think that Wednesday New Year's Evil show, we'll get Cross and Priest, and then we'll get either Balor and Dunn, Balor and O'Reilly, or a triple threat, and then that'll lead to Cross and Balor at the next takeover for the belt.
Yeah, Cross came out and attacked Priest, so yeah, that was kind of surprising that he went right into there.
Well, he talked shit. He talked shit in the opening segment.
Yeah.
It's that 1/6 day. That's gonna be a busy night because MLW's putting on the pay-per-view on TV. That's their Kings of the Coliseum event. That'll be AEW's what do they call it, like New Year's Bash Night 2, and then NXT's New Year's Evil. So that's gonna be a real busy night TV.
Yeah.
That MLW event's free.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's also all coming off of January 4th and 5th of Wrestle Kingdom for New Japan. A real busy week in wrestling that week.
Wow.
It did also in NXT, the Garganos and Theory and Indy.
It was me all along.
Called The Way or something. They kept saying The Way. So I'm thinking their stable name's going to be The Way.
Definitely a playoff of the Mandalorian.
I didn't like the reveal of Austin Theory. Like, to me, it fell completely flat.
Yeah.
I don't care
So
about
did
it.
Indy.
Yeah.
I mean, both. Oh, Theory, like he's still like they revealed it, and whenever I was watching the pay per view, it was like, get this creep out of here. The Me Too movement and the Speak Up movement, and trying to get him out. Like it just doesn't do anything. Gargano continues to be fantastic though. So
I don't care for his in ring all like that, but like the segments.
Segments
I
are
like the
fun.
segments.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with Gargano. Can he hold on to the title this time, or is this maybe now that he has a group to protect the title, maybe he'll be able to hold on to it?
Yeah, I think they're going to let him get a run with it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Court Bauer continues to be amazing on Twitter. There was a tweet a BB Boris put out, says MLW is considering expanding Fusion to longer than 60 minutes. More isn't always better. Sometimes these shows are a lot to get through. And Court Bauer just tweeted back, 0 plans to go beyond 60 minutes. Like, you're wrong. 20 years ago today, yesterday, we had the Armageddon pay-per-view with the 6-man Hell in a Cell match. Undertaker, Rock, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle as champion, Triple H and Rikishi. This match saw Rikishi get thrown off the cage into the back of the bed of the truck. What a stacked Hell in a Cell that is. Besides Rikishi.
I don't remember the match. I just remember Rikishi falling off the cage.
Right. So right. The guy that's name value, just name value, when you line up those 6 names, right? Rikishi's name does not fall in line with those other 5, right? However, Rikishi's the man that you remember from the match.
Yeah.
Right? You couldn't ask me, did Kurt Angle retain the belt? I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Like you said, Rikishi fell off a Hell in a Cell through the bed of a back of a truck. Like,
and
but if
perfect
you look
too. I still remember him falling perfectly.
If you look at that 6-man Hell in a Cell, right? Try to pull 6 guys from WWE now that has, or 5 guys that has the star power that these 5 or 6 have to put into one match. Can you go 6 deep star power wise in WWE right now?
Roman, Randy, Seth, Fiend,
AJ.
That'd be it. And it still wouldn't live up to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally have 6 Hall of Famers in one match.
Mm-hmm.
Have they done a multiple man Hell in a Cell since?
I don't believe so. I believe that was
so.
the one and only one. They did the tag team one, but I haven't seen it. I don't remember seeing.
Have they even did a triple threat?
The triple threat one?
Have they done a triple threat?
I don't think so.
I think once the Elimination Chamber came in, it stopped those multi-man Hell in a Cell.
The Slammy announcements came out for the Slammy Awards, and you see AEW is putting out lists for their year-end awards. We can get into this at another time. I just wanted to bring it up. Maybe we do this as one of the closeout shows, because some of the people that I saw on the WWE Superstar of the Year list, we really got to talk about this.
No, yeah.
I didn't even think we're still a thing.
It was not like.
And a feud.
What are you talking about? Like,
so that just means stay tuned for the first ever Dumb Marks year-end awards.
So here. I'll just read off these names. Okay, this is for WWE Superstar of the Year. Okay, first off, there's 10 nominees. Who the fuck nominates 10 people? Right?
4.
So here's your nominees. Superstar of the Year, right? Roman Reigns, Asuka, Drew McIntyre, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Randy Orton, Becky Lynch, The Fiend, Charlotte Flair, Braun Strowman. That's it.
How you put Charlotte in there? They even fight.
Hey, like I said, we don't have to get into it. I don't want to get into it. I just want to bring it up. Okay, that you're going to see these year-end lists from these companies, and WWE decided with the first one that they were going to announce was 10 deep. So
And the feud. Did you see the feud one?
yeah.
That
Yeah.
left Mandy and Sonya off.
Yeah. But they put on
Lana versus
Lana
Table.
and a table. Lana and a table. That's when Gargano chimed in. Like, if we're doing rivalry of the year with inanimate objects, me versus Wheels is gonna win.
NXT always does their year-end awards too, so I'm sure they'll do something.
And then did you see the Gorillas of Destiny won the 2020 World Tag League winners in New
I
Japan?
did.
No.
Oh, Super J Cup's underway.
Could they fight?
That card was packed with people in it. A lot of outside names that came in. Leo Rush looks like he's officially he signed some type of deal with New Japan, but he also signed on with MLW. Him and Myron Reed are going to go at it. It's going to be a hell of a match. If you don't know who Myron Reed is, go watch MLW. The man's legit, and he's only like 22 years old.
Steve, did you watch MLW this week?
I did not watch it this week.
Okay.
I just saw announcements. I meant to go on and just didn't get a chance to do it. So
all right, I won't spoil it for you.
Chris did all his homework this week.
I did do all my homework this week. I watched every show this week. I think the only one that I didn't watch was there was no NWA or Primetime this week. Yeah. No, so I watched everything.
So how'd y'all feel about Sasha and Carmella last night?
I still got to finish that.
Oh man,
I fell asleep.
I mean, typical WWE gives you a pay-per-view match before the pay-per-view.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was a decent match. I mean, the opening segment with the two of them was good. The match was decent. I mean, it will continue now to the pay-per-view, but
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna run it back.
Yeah.
Good old false finish, like always. Stay tuned for part 2 at the pay-per-view.
I think it's funny. It's funny to listen to Graves commentate Carmella's match because obviously them two are together. But the line he had last night was pretty hilarious. He said what was it? It was as I stand before the gates of heaven, something about Mella is her name or something like that. Like, go back and listen to it. It was after her entrance, she was about walking out of the ring. He zinged it out there. It was pretty good. All right. Anybody got anything else this week in wrestling?
Nope.
I think that wraps it up.
All right. Well, that's it from Bell to Bell this week. All right, folks. This week in sports is man, we got a lot to get into. The NBA tipped off last night, new season. 60 days after they officially ended their season down in the bubble in Orlando, the new 2020-2021 season got underway last night. I did watch late night game. I watched Damian Lillard and the Blazers take on the Kings. That was after some college football on ESPN. Kind of weird to see the NBA back already. Like, again, this goes back into that whole everything running together now. You don't know what day is which, but like, didn't even feel like them. Like, I wasn't aware that last night was the tip off to the season. I thought last night was preseason games, but apparently they've been having those. And we're not having them. Last night was the official tip off to the season.
I thought it was the 22nd. Damn.
I had no idea either. I just saw basketball on TV. Was like, okay.
Are they in the bubble or are they in the home? Are they in the bubble or their home stadium?
No, they're in their home stadiums.
And unless I'm just the dumbass that completely got it wrong last night, but listening to the announcers, Ryan Rucco and Jason Richardson from the Portland game, like, they made it seem last night was the tip off to the season.
So the playoffs were the preseason games, basically.
I mean, yeah, like, John Wall played for Houston last night. He looked good coming back off an injury. Boogie Cousins looked good. So James Harden was there, but he reported to camp but didn't play in the game because he's still going through protocols not cleared yet. I I don't know. Maybe somebody can fact check whether or not last night actually started the season as we get in here. Don't want to be that. I know we're the dumb marks, but we don't got to be that dumb. So yeah, Harden didn't play
December
last.
22nd is the official kickoff.
Okay, so they had preseason games last night. Well, that stupid ass Ryan Rucco and Jason Richardson on the commentary last night made it seem like it was the tip off to the season already.
They selling you hard.
It's still crazy that they're already playing basketball. It's like it seems like it just ended.
Yeah,
preseason coming up real soon.
Preseason will run from the 11th through the 19th.
Okay. All right. So
1 week.
I mean, everything was so condensed between the end of the season, free agency, the draft, now preseason, and then regular season games. Good luck to them. We'll see what they have to do. I still have not seen the full protocols for them as far as like positive test, how long are you out for, are rosters expanded, are benches extended, because normally it's 15 people to an NBA team. Are they getting a practice squad? Like I don't know how any of that works right now. So we'll see. But it was just crazy to have basketball on last night. Going, oh shit, like NBA is right around.
I mean,
right around
their Christmas game's always the popular thing. So I mean, you know they were trying to get that done. So I'm sure that's the only reason why they're starting this month.
Yeah, that's their bigger graded, and plus they have to get those games in for TV contract wise.
Yeah.
All right. So NBA's back. Big fight night UFC tonight. We got Figueiredo and Moreno for UFC tonight on ESPN Plus. It is an actual pay-per-view. I think it's 256.
Yep.
Both of these fighters are coming off of a 3-week layoff. They both just fought 3 weeks ago, which is the quickest turnaround in UFC history for a title fight.
That has to be, yeah.
Both of these, Figueiredo especially, he's really shined during this COVID time. He's been featured a lot on a lot of cards this year. I think this is his 4th fight this year on the UFC card, and he's ran through everybody. I mean, he looks dominant. So, I might actually tune in for that one tonight because I think it's going to be a banger. It's going to be a hell of a show. Dana White gave a pre-recorded interview on the Pat McAfee show this week talking about COVID, Fight Island, his business strategy, everything's going on with it. He said, and this made a lot of sense when he said it, he said his business was actually more prepared to handle COVID than anybody else's because they already ran shows on, with no fans in the stands on the Contender series that they first did that made the UFC popular. And I didn't even think about that.
I never thought of that. Yeah.
I'm like, they did. They had fight-ins. They had the only fight that was televised was the fight to see who gets the UFC contract. Mm-hmm. Everything else took place without fans. So he said that helped them a lot as far as he knew it could be successful because they already had done it, which to me was like, yeah, that makes a ton of sense when you put it in that perspective.
Yeah, all the Ultimate Fighters and everything. I never even thought of that.
This was Ultimate Fighter. The Contender is his new series. The Ultimate Fighter was the original. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then we saw the Steelers take their first loss of the season. Oh. Man, do people love just throwing out the hate? Like you would have thought 31 other teams won the Super Bowl Monday night talking so much shit. Unbelievable.
And they forget going in, they were 11-0.
Yeah. Yeah, they lost, and guess what? Steelers are still in first in the AFC in the playoffs right now. I was like,
some people got them ranked 8th.
They do have their issues. I've been touting it for weeks. You got to be able to run the ball. Whether it's play calling, whether it's scheme, whether it's the backs themselves. To me, you don't have you line up in shotgun, more. I think Ben might have taken maybe 4 under center snaps, if that. James Conner, Benny Snell are not shotgun running backs. They're not zone. They're not outside read running backs. Like you can't line them up in shotgun and expect to do anything. I don't know. Injuries are hitting them hard right now. They have a lot of people rolled out for Sunday's game. I don't have a good feeling about tomorrow night against the Bills, but we'll see if they prove me wrong. Joe Hayden's rolled out. Vince Williams is rolled out. He's on the COVID list. Spillane's out with a knee. You're already down Bush. Like,
is Boswell back?
I have not heard anything. I hope so, because why sign a kicker if you're not going to put him out there?
Mm-hmm.
Valid point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the defense side of the ball is getting hit hard now. It's because the offense ain't on the field too long, so the defense got to stay out there all day.
Yeah, you can't drop passes. To me, Tomlin's handled it the right way. He's laid into him. Whether or not he actually follows through with what he says, as far as as far as the drops, he goes, well, I'll put people out there that can catch the ball. I don't know if you're necessarily sitting down Deontay Johnson because of drops, but maybe he pulls him out for a couple of series. Hey, listen, you gotta catch the ball, dude. You're in the NFL. You gotta catch the rock. Eric Ebron, he's known for drops. He's done drops his whole career, but he got to be better. You can't have 13 drop passes in 2 weeks and with that offense that they run and expect to be successful. So Connor comes back this week. Whether or not that makes the run game look any different, who knows? Baltimore ran through Dallas on Tuesday night. I didn't watch the game. Could care less about either one of those two teams. Mike McCarthy just fleeced Jerry Jones for a 5-year deal. That might have been the greatest fleece of any job I've ever seen in my life. Completely fleeced him. Like, kudos to him. Hey, way to get the money. Like, good job. But as far as coaching goes, like, you suck right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And
he ain't changing anything with his offense. Nothing.
No, not at all. Yeah, so NFL's getting ready to come down the home stretch here. Did you see the Cowboys got flexed out of the Sunday night game next week for the Browns? I'll repeat that. The Cowboys, America's team, quote unquote, got flexed out of the Sunday night game for the Cleveland Browns.
2020.
Wow. Wow. Jerry Jones got to be pissed.
Who do the Steelers play?
This Sunday?
Yeah.
They play the Bills. They play the Bills tomorrow night. Next week they play the Bengals.
Oh, that one's okay. It's the week after.
Yeah, not this Sunday, not tomorrow. The following week, the Browns got flexed.
What was? Did they say a reason or?
No, I mean they have the ability to flex games, and they decided. I forget who Dallas was playing, but yeah, it's not like get him out of there. Like
game because I think
it was Dallas and San Francisco, both under 500 teams. Like
I'm tired of seeing Dallas and the Chiefs in prime time.
Yeah, so they put Cleveland and the Giants in because the Giants are tied for first now with the I'm about to say the Redskins, Washington football team.
Yeah, so that saw Carson Wentz get benched for Jalen Hurts. We'll see. Philly got issues, man. They benched Hurts. He has a huge cap number the next 2 seasons, regardless if they trade him. If they release him, it's $60 million against their cap.
Ooh, man, that's a lot.
If they trade him, it's like $33 million against the cap.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to make a lot of money, whether he's starting or a backup on Philly for the next 2 years, because they really can't do anything with him.
Yeah. And after this year too, his contract, he gets no guaranteed money after this year. Yeah, there's none.
So, yeah, that's the big deal there. College football, we saw what we all knew was going to happen. The Big Ten made changes to their rules so Ohio State could play in the Big Ten championship game to give them 6 games so they could just be in the college football playoff. They're playing Northwestern. It's the biggest crock of shit I've ever seen.
Went back on their own rules. Completely went back on their own rules.
It epitomizes that it's all about money. And even though there's not a big difference between a college football game and a college football playoff game and a Big Six bowl game, it's a $2 million difference as far as what the school receives. But the cachet and the prestige that goes with you saying we were in the college football playoff, that's why it's horrible. Like
what Dabo Sweeney even said about they said they don't deserve it because they only got 6 games under their belt, and teams like Texas A&M and Florida deserve the spot even more.
Well, not only that, it's the Cincinnati is 10-0. They're ranked 8th in the country. Iowa State, who has 2 losses, and
they jumped over them.
Jumped ahead of them in the polls.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on. Like, I said this way back when it started. 2020 was the year for them to expand the playoff, whether you did 8 teams or hell, I even saw Pat McAfee show this week, a person on the internet put together a 16-team playoff bracket with the teams ranked 1 through 16 as they are now, and had it split up into brackets and bowls where they would be played and everything. And it looked amazing. Like, it was like, yo, give me this. Give me this. Like, not saying that Cincinnati will win the whole thing, but at least they have a chance, you know? Yeah, it's just, if you're not a Power 5 school, this year just hammered home the point, which I think we all knew, you will never get a chance to play for the national championship. So I don't know what the fallout is going to be from that in the future. There's been talk about Power 5 schools moving and starting their own thing outside of the NCAA. Who knows what's going to come down the pike with that type of movement. But if you're a non-Power 5 school, it's like, why are we even playing? Because we're never going to get a chance for the national championship.
Yep.
So do you think that like them trying to do something different, was that talked about before COVID, or is that more something because of COVID?
There was rumblings about it before, just to get away from the NCAA rules, and a lot of it came up whenever they talked about players being able to get paid for their likeness now, and stuff like that. So, like, how do you control the money? Who gets what? What violations, because the NCAA rule book hasn't been rewritten in 100 years. You can get a postseason sanction for putting cream cheese on a bagel during a pregame meal. Like, it's ridiculous that they have written in their rule book. So yeah, we'll see where the fallout comes. I just think that it's a shame that a school like Cincinnati, who talent-wise looks like they can play with anybody in the country, doesn't get that shot because of strength of schedule or whatever, or their preseason ranking was too low. Why the hell do we still have preseason rankings? They don't do anything but just confirm the bias that we already know that's out there. Stop preseason rankings. Don't rank anybody until the college football playoff puts out their first ranking.
Mm-hmm. No, but everybody wants to see that upset, the quote unquote upset of a team. Yeah, it's whatever.
They gotta start making like the statistic for the gamblers and get all that stuff going. So
yeah. I guess what else has gone on this week in sports?
NHL is getting closer.
NHL is getting closer. I believe they're playing a 59-game schedule or 62-game schedule. Still no rolling on whether or not the Penguins and the other 3 teams that petition to have games played outside will go through or not. Be interested to see. Back to MMA news. I did see Anthony Rumble Johnson in the UFC parted ways. He officially signed a deal with Bellator. he'll be able to compete as a light heavyweight in the first half of 2021. That came from Ariel Hawani. So that's a bigger name fighter moving from the UFC to Bellator. Whether or not that pans out into anything, who knows?
At least he's still fighting. Normally, Bellator gets like the washed up people, legends who haven't fought in a while, like over there. So at least he might put up a fight or two.
Yeah, I mean, Bellator has some names, but Bellator is like the TNA of the Ultimate Fighting game. Like they were that number 2 at one point. They had some buzz, and then for whatever reason didn't pan out or didn't move forward. NBA again, back to that. Paul George signed a 5-year, $226 million contract extension with the Clippers.
Playoff Pete.
Man,
Playoff.
about fleecing the bag too, man.
Yeah. Whether or not this gets Kawhi to sign long-term extension, I don't know. Paul George came out and said he wants to retire a Clipper. That's great. I think he's only 30, so this contract will take him until he's 35. I didn't realize he was only 30 years old. I thought he was older than that. But the big move is you got to get Kawhi signed. Without Kawhi, that team isn't nowhere near as good as they are. They lost players this year, so we'll see what the Clippers look like at the start of the season. But yeah. Oh, and then as I brought up in the intro, college football today, you have Army Navy, the big game that I'll be interested to watch. I watch that regardless of records as far as rivalry games go. Anything else from the college slate game wise pique your interest today?
Nah, there's really nothing but Army Navy. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Championship games next week, so
yeah, championship games next week. So we'll watch that. I think the college football playoff this year, if it stays the way it is, like, going to kind of turn me off from watching it.
Mm-hmm. Because it's the same teams over and over.
I mean, Alabama by far is the best team in the country. Like, I got no problem with them being in the top 4. Notre Dame's undefeated. They beat Clemson, so they're undefeated. I think just this year, just because of everything that's gone on, it's not. If any sport were to have an asterisk next to a champion, I think college football would be the one sport because of what they've done, what they've said, how they're going to proceed. Even with a team that gets into the top 4, if they're not able to play because of COVID, they're not going to replace them with anybody. The other team's just going to go to the championship game. So what's the point in that?
I saw Pitt. Pitt said they're not going to a bowl game. They just said they're not going to go to.
They don't need to.
Yeah, that how about that handshake at the end of the game Thursday night? I don't know if did anybody catch that between Narduzzi and Georgia Tech's coach?
Yeah,
Gripped him up.
Man, that was big time shade thrown out there. So, all right. I don't have anything else. Oh, my fantasy football team made the playoffs. We got a first round bye, so we're gearing up for week 15. If we win that, we're in a championship game and we're guaranteed money for the year. So maybe an early Christmas present for myself. Get some extra cash. Times are hard around here. To
the guys.
Little COVID fantasy come up. We'll do good there. Appreciate that. So gotta tweak the roster for next week. Get ready to go. But yeah, that's all I got in sports. Anybody got anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah, light sports week.
All right. Well, that's this week in sports, folks.
All right, fans, I think that's going to about do it for episode 15 of the Dumb Marks podcast tonight. as usual, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at dumbmarkspod. And you can always shoot us an email at dumbmarkspod@gmail.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, radio.com, iHeartRadio, and basically wherever podcasts are available. Anybody have anything else before we send it home?
Yeah. So, Chris, this will tie into the Drink of the Week segment, but the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, launched the Talking Shop Bourbon Whiskey. I sent an email to them back whenever they announced it about how to purchase it, where to get it. There was a bit of delay due to some issues with shipping alcohol across state lines and all the red tape that they had to go through. So they received an email back to them from them this week. Says, Hoots and Hootettes, we're sorry for the delay in getting our Talking Shop bourbon to you with our friends at Leatherwood Distillery. Pandemic has brought many changes and challenges and made the process of getting this amazing bourbon to you a little slower than we planned. We're proud to officially announce that first batches will be ready to ship on December 18th, 2020. Simply click the link below and put the Talking Shop Reserve in the subject line, and the folks at Leatherwood will get all the information they need to make sure you get your first batch bottle as soon as shipping starts. So those of you that listen to the Bell to Bell segment as well as Drink of the Week, we will I'm going to respond to this and get us on the list to receive a bottle of the Talking Shop Bourbon Whiskey to review on our Drink of the Week segment. But they did respond. Glad to see that. So a little bit of delay in the process there, but we will get it and we will review it accordingly.
Awesome. Looking forward to trying that.
All right. Anybody got anything else on the outro you want to touch on?
Oh, I have nothing.
It's probably not the best time to bring this up, but normally we have a Parenting 101 segment on this show, and I didn't want to do a separate Parenting 101 segment this week just because I forgot about it, being a dumb mark. But I will bring this up. So earlier in the week, we're all at home during COVID. I work from home. My wife works from home. The kids do homeschooling. My wife and the kids sit in the office together, and they, both kids, for whatever reason, decided that they like to spend the day in the office with mommy while she's doing her work. They're doing their work. And they're on the TV, and she's watching Lucifer. So I don't know if those of you that are familiar with the show Lucifer that was on Fox, that Fox canceled, but Netflix picked it up. Really good show. Something that you could binge. Well done. But
I know that I never watched it though.
Okay, so it's not really it's not necessarily age appropriate for all ages, right? It's a TV 14 MA, says in the description, sex, violence, drugs, whatever. So my 10-year-old daughter's in the office doing her schoolwork while this show's on, completely invested in the storyline. That has me a little concerned. She knows everything that's going on. My 16-year-old son's in there with my wife. I'm upstairs in the bedroom doing my work, and I get a text from my wife. And the text reads, hold on, let me pull it up. It says, nothing like watching Lucifer and the kids get a lesson on edible sex toys and kink. To which
do they have some cherry panties?
To which I text back in all caps, worst parent ever. WTF. So my wife's explaining this to me as I'm downstairs making lunch, and she's talking about what came on and like their faces and everything else. And she's cracking up. She thinks it's hilarious. And I'm like, it's not funny. Like, she goes, well, they're going to have the conversation anyways. I'm like, but not now. Like no, my son, yes. Okay. Like we all 16, we were all 16 boys. Like we know, right?
Yeah.
My 10-year-old daughter
knows more.
Yeah. My 10-year-old daughter's a different story. Right. But she's cracking up, and, she leaves the kitchen laughing, and my son's like, why is mommy laughing? I'm like, oh, she was telling me, your guys' sex ed lesson you got on edible sex toys and kink watching Lucifer. And he's like, well, I mean, it's true. And I'm like, what do you know about that? You don't know nothing about that. He's like, he goes, I know more than you think. I'm like, you know nothing. You know absolutely nothing. Like,
I don't know, man. 16-year-old boys today might know more than you.
I mean, they definitely have it easier. Before it was like trying to find your dad's stash somewhere in a magazine, sneaking it. Now you just hop on the internet and type in, you can type in baloney, and the search results you get will be mind blowing. But yeah, just not ideal. So those of you that I know, you three don't have kids, and that, but yeah, not how you want to have that conversation, and let alone learn it from Lucifer.
I mean, better than them finding out on Lucifer than find your own stuff.
I'm gonna have to bring in a gallon. I'm gonna have to bring in a gallon of holy water and bless everybody. Right? So yeah, I just thought that was a little not the best look there, but it is what it is. So
one less lesson they got to worry about in school this week now.
Yeah, it's just don't need a book report done on edible strawberry penny. Like this is not like it's not getting into the Baskin Robbins flavors of edible panties. Yeah, but that's all I got. So little chuckle there for you guys. That's what I'm dealing with right now in my household. So yeah. But nobody got anything else? We'll go ahead and wrap this up with this week's quote. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible. Let that sink in there for those of you that it went over your head. And until next time, we'll catch you around the way.